I went to dinner with my brother and his wife and their 3 boys to a Mexican restaurant, and my 12-year-old nephew Patrick ordered the Fiesta platter, which was the size of Mexico. Okay, it's huge, right? The check came, and I grabbed the check, and my brother's trying to get the check, and we're doing that whole check tussle thing. After a couple of minutes, Patrick blurts out, "Dad, let her have it. We don't know how much this thing cost."
A quick story this week proves that sometimes less is better. Less words, that is. Yeah, back when I was just getting into comedy, I was booked to do this one-nighter at a restaurant. A couple weeks before the gig, I started hearing rumors from other comics that the gig I was scheduled for was slow paying the comics. And by slow pay, that meant that you didn't get the money that night. It took a couple weeks before you got paid. Now, that's always a bad sign in this business, because slow pay usually turns into no pay. And what recourse do us comics have, right? I mean, as the saying goes, we can't take the jokes back. So as the day for my gig got closer, I was getting more and more worried about it. I needed the money, and I didn't want to work for someone who wasn't going to pay me. The night before the gig, I was going to do an open mic with my friend Peter. I mentioned to him that I was worried about the paying gig the next night, that they wouldn't pay. I can't remember who came up with it, but we decided to swing by the restaurant on the way to the open mic so I could talk to the manager. And we decided that Peter would do his best to just stand next to me and look kind of scary. Yeah, Peter doesn't look scary at all. So I thought this was kind of a dumb idea, but I didn't know what else to do. So we go in and I ask for the manager. The guy comes out and I said, "We need to talk." Both he and I sit down, and Peter keeps standing right next to my chair with his arms crossed, just glaring at the guy. The guy was like, "Who's that?" I said, "Don't worry about him. I just want to talk with you about my money. I hear you aren't paying the comics the night we perform, and that's not the deal. I want to get confirmation from you right now that tomorrow night you'll have my money." The guy kept looking at Peter and looking back at me. The guy was in a tough spot. He had people coming for a comedy show the next night, and he didn't know where to get another comic last minute. And he didn't know who Peter was, maybe a tough guy or maybe a lawyer. After a few minutes, he said, "Well, of course, I'll have your money ready." And that was that. We left the restaurant and laughed the whole way to the open mic. And yes, the next night I did the show, and he paid me in cash right afterwards. The takeaway tip from this is, don't let your imagination get away from you and scare you. This guy didn't know who Peter was, and I'm sure he let his mind wander, thinking about all sorts of scenarios and what might happen to him if he doesn't pay me. So he paid me. In today's scary world, make sure you aren't letting your mind wander into scary territory. Stay present and deal with the facts as you know them right now. That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening. Feel free to check out my website, theworklady.com. This is Jan. Take care and enjoy your journey.